Hi, this is George Whittam reporting for Whittam's World. The questions are slowing down. It's summertime. I think a lot of people are taking off and probably have answered a lot of your questions if you're a regular viewer at this point. So I'm starting to look for other places for questions, and well, somebody brought up a topic on Twitter and thought maybe this would be something good for Whittam's World, and I think it is too, because, well, we haven't answered this one yet. This question came in from Kevin Guzovic at kevinguzovic.com, and he says, any thoughts on FET versus tube mics for VO, specifically audiobooks, but also promo et al.? I'll give you my in a nutshell on tube anything for voiceover home studios. Not just about one particular genre, but just in the use of using tube equipment in general for your personal studio. I think it's a bad idea, okay? There's a few reasons why tubes persist in being used in the recording studio world. One of it is just mystique. Tube equipment has always had a mystique about it. There's always been something organic and warm, and there's a certain sound, a tone, some noise that comes along with it because they're warm and they have a tube sound that people tend to identify with as being something that sounds rich and full and all this stuff. So here's what a tube does, basically, without getting too scientific. When you're recording audio, a tube behaves not a whole lot different than a transistor, and a specific type of transistor is an FET, field effect transistor. And these two devices are designed to amplify a signal. Now, tubes and FETs don't sound all that different from each other and really don't behave that differently until they go into what's called a clipping stage. Clipping is when the recording waveform or the recorded waveform starts to become distorted because it's pushing the limits of the input stage of the equipment. The way they clip is quite different, and it has to do with something called harmonics. Solid state equipment that uses FETs or transistors, when they clip, they create odd order harmonics. And odd order harmonics, when they add on top of each other, like in this diagram, they do not create a harmonious sound. The distortion that's resulting of those odd order harmonics is kind of rather not very pleasing sounding. So that's the way a transistor or FET circuit clips. A tube circuit clips a little bit differently, and when it clips, it creates even order harmonics. And the even order harmonics resonate in harmony with each other, and instead of creating a sort of a crunchy, kind of yucky sound when they distort, they create a nice, fuller, richer sound that actually adds something to the sound that wasn't originally there. Well, that sounds all well and good, but the thing is you have to set the equipment to a very specific amount of gain to get the right results. Too much, and you get too much of the distortion, and too many harmonics don't sound good. Not enough, and you won't get the desired result. So it's challenging to get the mic or the preamp to do exactly what you want it to do, to get the desired results that you would get from tubes. So that's one problem. The other problem is tube equipment is generally, at least stuff that's designed properly to get the most benefit from the tube, it's much more expensive, it's more fragile, and the tubes have a limited lifespan. How limited? Anybody's guess. Tubes are not solid state by nature. They heat up. They have an element inside that actually gets hot, almost not all unlike a light bulb, and that degrades over time. And so they tend to not just fail and burn out. They tend to slowly degrade. And as the tube degrades, the sound quality can shift. But more so not sound quality. What really ends up happening is you lose some gain and you increase the noise. So you get more and more noise. And it happens very gradually. It can take years for it to happen. And you may not even realize it's happening because, again, it's taken so long. So your noise floor goes up slowly, little by little, and the recording gets noisier and noisier and noisier. So it's something else to have to worry about. It's something that makes it harder for you to match an older recording because the tone can change. It's a maintenance issue. You got to replace the thing. It's not hard to replace, but it's still something you have to fix. it doesn't make sense to me to use it. If you really want to change your sound, try different preamps, some that have different transformer circuits. The transformers change the sound more than the tube does, believe it or not. And it really makes more sense to experiment at the preamp level, I think, and still, you know, avoid the tubes if you can. Not worth the expense, the trouble, the hassle, the headache, the maintenance. That's my opinion. That's our topic for this week. I love answering your specific questions, though. Please do send them in to whittamsworld@edgestudio.com. I will be happy to feature it on a future Whittam's World. And if you have something that you want to get dealt with sooner, or you really need one-on-one time, or it's of urgency, or you just want to have a twisted wave stack or something like that made, go over to vostudiotech.com. That's the place to sign up and get services of that nature. Thanks again for watching. This has been George Whittam from Whittam's World, and I'll see you guys next week.